Welcome to the Art of Poetry. My name is Frank Crowley. I'll be doing the show today with my dear friend Victor Banowitz from St. Paul. Isn't it wonderful that we can do this? I'm so grateful. And I have to say, Victor's such a stalwart co-host and co-producer that we've got a blockbuster kind of show for you. So it's appropriate in November, I think, dying of the year. It's good poems for hard times, and it happened because Victor suggested a poem by Howard Nemeroff, and I went off searching for it, and then I found a book in the library called Good Poems for Hard Times. And I really, really love collections like this. Garrison Keillor, I guess his favorite lineup. But the thing is, I really went sorting through to see what we could look for to help us in difficult times. And that, of course, needs no explanation. Good poems in hard times is a reference to how poetry gets us through. Philosophers, divines, poets look for solace, consolation, and hopefully this show will help you, especially the second half, where we turn to, let's not take it all so seriously anymore. Victor, I'm grateful that you started with the idea of a simple bone. And I was sitting in my car and I realized I have these hanging off my rearview mirror, and they are Mother Nature's art. This is a remnant with enough of a hole in it to make a necklace out of it. And then, of course, there's this one. Good old Mother Nature. So I wondered, why have I been walking the beach for 50, 60 years looking for these wonderful little, where is it? Oh, it disappeared. It'll come back. So, Mother Nature contributes these, and I thought, well, it must be in my DNA. I'm Irish. I pick up these strange things, and I look through the peephole, and what do I see? Oh, my imagination projects fairyland. I'm not alone. So, Victor, why in the world would this opening trigger your imagination so that you wanted to use it?
Well, it's got sailing in it, so
yes,
that's
yes.
The opening motif of your program.
Also, escaping. I love that idea. We're escaping the pain and the hard times through our imagination, which is poetry.
Right. The first segment of this program really is kind of a William Butler Yeats hangover.
Nice.
Escaping by sailing away. In one around 1917, he wrote one called The Collarbone of a Hare. If we could see the collarbone of a hare, this is very important. The reader knows what the listener knows what it looks like. There is an Irish belief that if you look through a hole pierced in the bone of a hare, you will be able to see into fairyland. Now that is not where the speaker is looking. So here's how the poem goes. Would I could cast a sail on the water where many a king has gone and many a king's daughter, and the light with the comely trees and the lawn, the playing upon pipes and the dancing, and learn that the best thing is to change my loves while dancing, and pay but a kiss for a kiss. I would find by the edge of that water the collarbone of a hare, worn thin by the lapping of water, and pierce it through with a gimlet and stare at the old bitter world where they marry in churches, and laugh over the untroubled water at all who marry in churches through the white thin bone of a hare. Now notice he's not looking at fairyland. Fairyland is pagan, and he's looking at the land of churches. So he's just detached himself from there. I wouldn't go to say the poem means us to believe he's looking in fairyland, from fairyland, definitely from a distant perspective. And notice the fine moral message for our young people. Pleasure-seeking, dancing, superficial and temporary romantic relations, and laughing at all those who make serious commitments. Okay? Very edifying.
Huh.
What does it make you want to ask the speaker? Who hurt you, you poor baby? So it makes you wonder, this is published in 1917, the same year he got married to Georgie Hyde Lees, not in a church, but in a registry office in England. And it was a lifelong marriage, but it was the same year he published The Collarbone of a Hare. So just one more element in the enigma of William Butler Yeats. It's a rich poem. It starts off with a journey, then piping and dancing, and then a visionary look, and this whole necromancy. It seems to be a rejection of romantic love after all. Hares and rabbits are notoriously sexual, but he's looking through the bone of a dead animal and laughing at those who get married. And yet it's the year he himself got married.
A lot of ironies there, Victor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, please unpack one of the ironies for me. As an Irishman, I tend to look at a kind of wonder and magic and glorious folklore of the culture as really glasses that are permanent. So, let's look at bifocals maybe as an image. I still have that romanticism in my nature, and here we have the inverse, the irony of starting where he is, not necessarily in fairyland, but with that kind of youthful innocence and exuberance that the Irish have. And he's looking with a cold eye.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of cold eyes.
Oh, Sailing to Byzantium.
Oh, man.
There's another sailing poem, right. There's even an illustration of a ship's sail with a face on it. I don't know if it's going to go on the screen. We can do it if we can.
Oh, I love that ship's face. Yes, I love that visual. Oh, my goodness. Take me away.
And if the opening of this poem reminds you of a Coen Brothers movie, that's because they stole the opening from their title from this poem. Shall I start it?
Yeah, please.
One poem with the boat. That is no country for old men, the young in one another's arms, birds in the trees, those dying generations at their song. The salmon falls, the mackerel crowded seas, fish, flesh or fowl commend all summer long, whatever is begotten, born and dies. Caught in that sensual music, all neglect monuments of unaging intellect. An aged man is but a paltry thing, a tattered coat upon a stick, unless soul clap its hands and sing and louder sing for every tatter in its mortal dress. Nor is there singing school but studying monuments of its own magnificence. Therefore I have sailed the seas and come to the holy city of Byzantium. O sages standing at God's holy fire as in the gold mosaic of a wall, come from the holy fire, Pern and Agyre, and be the singing masters of my soul. Consume my heart away, sick with desire, and fastened to a dying animal it knows not what it is, and gather me into the artifice of eternity. Once out of nature, I shall never take the bodily form of any natural thing, but such a form as Grecian goldsmiths make of hammered gold and gold enameling, to keep a drowsy emperor awake, or set upon a golden bough to sing to lords and ladies of Byzantium of what is past, or passing, or to come. I'll take that one apart.
Okay, but I have to comment.
He wants
I
to
have
turn
to
into a
comment
mechanical
first
bird.
on your reading, man. That was
Oh, it's fun.
perfect. I mean, not only the musical quality of his verse comes through with your recitation. And by the way, Victor is reciting from memory. Oh, we've got to take note of that because that makes the poem so much more immediate and alive. But the sound, Victor, was just so musical, and we don't get that from the page or just a flat reading. Thank you for that. I loved it.
Oh, well, I can't object to that comment, thank you.
No. And that's not my base flattery side either.
Oh, I'd hate to see that then, okay.
Yeah, and the ironies abound. I mean, that's the gift of 20th century poetry too, mentally, and the ideas are always ironic in a sense. So here we are in the full flush of modernism. By the way, as art of poetry, sound and sense really merge in his work. And I think your recitation is really a gift. I will listen again and again.
I should hope so.
Yes.
It'll be your evening Vesper service, my gift to you, but okay.
So escape. Did he
Okay.
escape?
Did he escape? Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, in his old age, he was either trying to revive his sexual vigor with monkey gland injections or just talking about abstraction and saying we've got to focus the essence of art as mental discipline and austere discipline, constructing what has to last.
I love that comment because what do I, as an old man turned 80, have to look forward to except for eroticism and cantankerousness? Oh, I had to get that in because he seems to have somehow brought the two together.
It was, yeah. Oh, yeah, he was good at that, yeah.
Oh, man. I'm enjoying this. Thank you.
Yes, and now we're going more to the theme of poems for hard times, and I found a great one. If we can get a picture of Marge Piercy on the screen. She just completed her 8th decade, Marge Piercy. And she is a lively, strong, again, cantankerous woman. Her poetry is what I like about the clarity and directness of William Butler Yeats and of W.H. Auden and of Howard Nemeroff. She takes what sounds like prose and elevates it and gives it music and power, and suddenly it's poetry without lapsing into poetic diction. And this poem is about Eliyahu, or the prophet Elijah. So we have another picture. Elijah was the one saint, you might say, that the Jewish people prayed to, because in their tradition there is no immortality after death until the resurrection. But Eliyahu, or Elijah, was taken into heaven by a fiery chariot. So he is still a living body. And at Passover Seders, they put the cup of Eliyahu, a glass of wine, on the table in case he should show up. And there is also one part of the Seder where someone goes to the door and opens it to make sure that he's not there. So that is really part of the Jewish Passover ritual, opening the door for Eliyahu and setting the cup of Eliyahu on the table. And this one I don't have from memory, so forgive me, I will read it. The cup of Eliyahu. In life, you had a temper. Your sarcasm was a whetted knife. Sometimes you shuddered with fear, but you made yourself act no matter how few stood with you. Open the door for Eliyahu that he may come in. Now you return to us in rough times, out of smoke and dust that swirls blinding us. You come in vision, you come in lightning on blackness. Open the door for Eliyahu that he may come in. In every generation you return, speaking what few want to hear, words that burn us, that cut us loose. So we rise and go again over the sharp rocks upward. Open the door for Eliyahu that he may come in. You come as a wild man, as a homeless sidewalk orator. You come as a woman taking the bima. You come in prayer and song. You come in a fierce rant. Open the door for Eliyahu that she may come in. Prophecy is not a gift, but sometimes a curse, Jonah refusing. It is dangerous to be right, to be righteous, to stand against the wall of might. Open the door for Eliyahu that he may come in. There are moments for each of us when you summon, when you call the whirlwind, when you shake us like a rattle, then we too must become you and rise. Open the door for Eliyahu that we may come in. Marge Piercy is an intensely political person, and that is a call to action invoking the prophet Eliyahu. And isn't that a much meatier name than the English version, Elijah?
It's a chewable name.
Chewable name, yes, tasty. Notice
your reading again caught her music. Thanks for mentioning that. I really enjoyed her sound as Old Testament imagery comes through in your visual. Where did you get that visual? It's fantastic.
Well, I stole it off the internet.
Good. It's so dramatic.
I found a credit someplace that it gave the source, but not the painter. Yeah, it's wonderful, three-dimensional stuff. Leaving the mantle of prophecy back to Elisha. Was a different kind of prophet, but also effective and a major figure in Jewish tradition. But that's a poem for hard times. We have seders at my Unitarian congregation to honor our Jewish heritage. Lutherans do this too, and some other Christian groups. And I gave this to the minister, and she said, "We've got to include this in the Seder." So I hope that goes on.
Wow. And speaking of I'm so grateful for what you sent. This is a sermon. It is a poem. It is probably something that changed my life. I'm waking up after a Rip Van Winkle 2-year sleep of COVID and attendant illnesses. And it's like, oh, wait a minute. This sermon grabbed me, shook me, woke me, and I sent it to all my friends. Fantastic.
Oh, okay.
Wonderful. Just so moving. And she's had a long career, as you said. Safford, Victoria Safford.
Oh, right, yeah.
Tell us a little about her.
She and her husband, when they're early youth, were looking for some sort of meaningful work after they graduated college, and found a little sort of boarding school for children with difficulties in the hills of northern New England. she liked what ministers did, but she didn't really have the belief to become a Christian minister. So one day, watching sheep from a cabin in the hills, she came across a book that had the 1819 sermon by William Ellery Channing called Unitarian Christianity, which advocated a religion of open belief and a critical approach to Scripture. And later, not maybe in Channing's time, but later, accepting people who were not theistic or avowedly Christian. So ultra-liberal religion. She decided she would become a minister in that tradition. She was with congregation in Northampton, Massachusetts, Florence and Northampton for 10 years. Felt a need for change. Came to my congregation in near White Bear Lake, Minnesota, actually in the town of Matamidi. And she just left after being with us an unusually long time for a minister, 22 years. Now she wants to find the next path for her life. She's in her early 60s. We gave her a 20th anniversary celebration, and it was a very joyful thing. Didn't know she was going to take off pretty soon. We thought she'd retire from our church. But I wish her well. We're a healthy congregation. She made it stronger. She tripled the membership, so I think we'll be okay. And she has not published any poetry yet. But you want to segue into that right away?
I do. And I loved your comment, though I think poetry may be her next path. Mm-hmm. She's already on it. For me, this sings as well as inspires. It has every hallmark of a poem that I would say is current. And,
imagery and rhythm, yeah.
And boy, do we need this in hard times, or I needed it in hard times. Use the personal pronoun. I needed it in hard times. And it's just perfectly timed for my reawakening to, oh, yes, the other side. Thanks.
We're going to gallop past September 1st, 1939 and just do this one.
We just galloped.
Okay.
Horsemen passed by.
Yeah, I guess you did.
He did.
Okay, I guess I'm not really the co-host. Just follow your lead. You're the one who runs the show. So
the times are roaring.
Yeah, okay. Okay, she just calls it Untitled Seasonal Verses in a Time of Pandemic. Older than the holidays, older even than the solstice, the merry dance of earth and sun, burns in the marrow of our bones, an older story still. In the ashy star stuff sparkling in our blood, and in the molecules of oxygen and hydrogen that fill and make the almost frozen lake. There sings a primal music heard by no one at first light, when something from nothing exploded, began, and all the stars were born. Hark, in December silence faintly still it sings, and all the little lights we kindle, menorah candles, Advent wreath, solstice fire candle crown, plastic Mary, Joseph, Santa in the yard, lit from within by LEDs. Every little light we shine at night echoes, answers, amplifies the primordial light, or is it love that's shining still, and shadow shall not overcome it? In every ICU tonight, the monitors are blinking. Somewhere in the weary world, ventilated, intubated, someone stirs, awakens, fearful in the dark alone, hears the murmur of the nurses at their station, keeping watch like shepherds in the field. The little lights of the machine burn quietly, sing steadily an ancient, holy song. Fear not, behold, and hark, we see you there, beloved. We have not forgotten you. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Each night, these candles we are lighting are for you. She could bring a tear to a glass eye and turn a heart of stone to butter.
Oh, you said it well. Yeah, in fact, it's a prayer I could use at night. Hold on, hold on, hold on, because I think of the blocked immigrants and desperate refugees on the Polish-Belarusian border right now. And it's on the news every night. So, you know, this is a poem of faith for me, and as I would translate it for myself, a reaffirmation. And it's the difference between optimism and hope. Hope leaves the room open for grace in my cosmos. And every now and then this appears, and this is a note of grace that came down for me. It's also, this is an aside, a poem a day came across, and I get that. It's a wonderful thing from the Poetry Foundation. And it happened to be the Jellyfish Olympics. And that poem stuck with me because it's about an ICU and the conditions in it, and she likens it to a jellyfish and the tentacles. Oh, what a peroration those two are if you bring the two together. So we're going to go to break. And Victor, I don't want to cut you off on your reaction and thoughts to this poem. So how are you feeling after reading that? Besides wet of eye and hopeful. Yeah.
I think it's a brilliant thing. She just embedded it in the sermon, just sort of tossed it off, and I suddenly realized it was by who wrote that. Oh, she wrote that.
Who wrote that is right. That was exactly my sentiment.
Right.
Oh, so we're going to go to a break for 3 minutes, and the best is yet to come because we can look toward light and hopefulness. So, here we go.
Let me take a moment to have a conversation with the brown and black communities. Coming from your community, I completely understand why there's vaccine hesitancy in communities of color. Reality of it all is doing nothing will only guarantee that we will continue to see our friends and family die at a much higher rate. So we've got to do something. So why don't you join me, elbow to elbow, so that we can get back to being the strong community that we have been in the past. God bless you, and let's get this done.
Community TV, your neighborhood TV.
Publicly funded and a reliable partner for cable companies nationwide. It provides transparent coverage of local and state government, education, and public programming.
A digital town green that can be watched anywhere, anytime, and on any device.
Watch us on today's high-tech distribution methods.
Community TV in Connecticut.
Local,
unfiltered,
reliable, and yours.
Information is power, especially in times of uncertainty.
In the age of 24/7 breaking news headlines, viral tweets, and social media rumors, we all need to take extra steps to verify information before accepting and sharing what we read online.
Whether inaccurate information is purposely posted to deceive or defraud individuals or shared unknowingly by people who believe it's true, misinformation can be dangerous.
Is there a vaccine?
Are certain blood types immune?
Are additional stimulus checks coming?
When will we open back up?
Questions are expected,
and they deserve accurate answers.
We need you to rely on information from official sources and credible subject matter experts.
For both Connecticut-specific information and federal resources, visit ct.gov/coronavirus.
Smart TVs and streaming services have taken over the television industry. VSC TV is proud to announce our presence on Apple TV and Roku to make watching your favorite shows even easier. You can access this service by downloading the Cablecast ScreenWeave app. Then choose Valley Shore Community TV from the list of channels. Select VSC TV Live to watch our channel in full HD. Or pick a show from our on-demand video library. VSC TV is your local Connecticut Midshore Valley digital connection.
Welcome back. Oh, I'm feeling so much lighter after that, Victor. Oh, Victoria Safford, I want to write you a note, an email, thanking you for that. I was expecting to hear from a lot of my friends in reaction to that, but, you know, busy lives. So, sound and sense. What is it about Nemiroff, Howard Nemiroff, that you like, besides his meanings and his topics? I am introduced again to Howard by you, and I'm grateful for that, because off to the library I went and grabbed this, and now I want to grab this and hold it up, because this has been a mainstay for us in this show and in the series. So stay tuned. The next few months we'll be dipping into Poetry Speaks. In other words, you can hear some of the actual poets sing their songs, so to speak, recite their poetry. And that's a lot of fun from time to time, but we're not doing it today because Victor has bested Yates with his gravelly, serious voice. Yeah, but the verdict is still out on that, isn't it? It's something I sent you about. Which do you prefer? The serious, formal voice, or the more conversational Robert Frost? To be continued. We'll come back, won't we, Victor, in the next few?
They all have their place.
They all have their place. Oh, yes.
Depends on the occasion.
Spoken like a discriminating man among poetry. So, Howard Nemiroff.
Do you want to get to, we're switching to the lighter mode now?
Yes, we've made the transition thanks to Victoria Stafford. We're very grateful for that transition, because the second half of the show is, you know, looking lighter, looking up. So let's not take it all so seriously. I mean, even war. Nemiroff writes a poem about war, the war in the air. Have you read that one?
I just opened your envelope this morning and read it. Yeah.
Oh, I liked it.
I'm not ready to recite that one.
No. But I want to offer my help. If you run out of breath, stop at any time, because I've got my trusty Android here. And
so you can read it. Yeah, I don't do that. I read off paper.
Yeah, I know. But I was too lazy to go to the library in time to get it all copied off. So you're on, man. You're on. This is
this is a lighter poem. Now, you know, you can write light verse about serious matters. Something about Gemma Matthewson proves that with her book, The Museum of Rain.
Oh, thank you so much for that plug. I mean, that is really kind. She read her poems last number 10, so look it up. There it is. Art.
The thing itself. It's
The
really...
Museum of Rain. Thanks for holding that up. That's beautiful. Gemma was on the last show, number 10, Art of Poetry. Oh, you're in for a treat if you look that up.
Right. And Nemiroff wrote a thing. Can we get a picture of Howard Nemiroff on the screen? Imagine a poet in a crew cut. That was him.
Whoa.
Very, very skilled, very eloquent, very feet on the ground, sensible guy. Brother of all people to the photographer Diane Arbus, who was always in Far Outsville. So a very, very different pair of siblings then. And he talks about the clerisy, which I guess is the intellectual classes, term coined by Samuel Taylor Coleridge and then used in a translation of Julien Banda, who wrote about the betrayal of the intellectuals. So the thinking classes. It's called a myth among the clerisy. The intellectuals have an esoteric myth which is hardly heard of and never believed outside of universities. And that is why it is such a splendid myth. It goes like this. Somewhere back in the sacramental high sublime between Aquinas and, say, Alighieri, all was wonderful. Alighieri seems not to have noticed this, but it is felt he stood too close to his canvas to get the big picture. Anyhow, wonderful, a primal paradisal unity of thoughts and things, the world might have been made by God. But then we sinned and fell. We sinned and fell with Abelard, with Scotus, and with Occam. Sinned and fell with Roger Bacon and Sir Francis Bacon. Sinned and fell with Descartes and Newton and Leibniz and Locke. We sinned and fell into nominalism, thence into skepticism, thence into materialism, empiricism, positivism, behaviorism, Marxism, Freudianism, and a pandemonium of other isms, including scientism. Meanwhile, we were hit, and right in the same decade too, with the origin of species and the second thermodynamical law, which got us hung up between evolutionism and degradationism, between vitalism and mechanism, followed by a host of other isms, followed in turn by war and the various ends of the world. All this we richly deserve to have happen, and it did. But now, by the discovery of uncertainty relations, the development of statistical ideas of cause, and the paradoxical behavior of single electrons confronted by a choice between two holes, mystery has been restored to the universe. And when all this is fully understood of the people, God will become more sympathetic to mankind. The real estate developer will run on charity, and the blade of the bulldozer bite not so keen. So runs the myth among the clerisy. If any among you believe it, let him be deported to the 13th century, preferably in December.
Oh, that was a gravelly end. Oh, it was perfect. Oh, that was brilliant reading. Just brilliant.
Oh yeah, it calls out for a good reading. You should stand in a pulpit and read it, really.
So have you ever heard him read Nemiroff himself?
No, a friend of mine did. My friend died, so I can't talk about it.
Oh, okay. That was a blockbuster. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it's the whole idea that the uncertainties of quantum theory wipe away determinism, so maybe there's mystery and miracle and there's really God, and he says, baloney.
Yeah, although Mary Oliver would disagree, you know. Mm-hmm. She's another one I turn to for solace.
Oh, she probably believes in mystery and miracle and all that, but not for that reason, not because of the uncertainties and incoherences of quantum theory.
And thank you very much for that clarity, that clarification and clarity. Oh, man.
Oh, you're welcome, but I may not be accurate, I'm not sure. So.
Boy, that's a nice transition. Other stuff, the end of summer. Oh, I love that poem, Nemiroff.
Oh, you want to hear that one too?
Oh, you kidding?
It's a little late for that. It's really about the first signs of fall and summer, but we can think fondly of it.
Okay. I'll hold up some from fall leaves.
I should throw in an explanation. He mentions Alighieri. Did everyone get that?
Oh, Alighieri, Dante Alighieri.
Yeah, I think all these Renaissance figures, we know them by their first names, and Nemiroff perversely brings
Whoa,
last name.
yes.
You can see why he's not someone who is likely to think everything is wonderful.
And no way I want to go back to the 13th century in December. Thank you.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, that's a great visual.
And we'll leave Aquinas off. I didn't provide a picture of Aquinas. So, but yeah, that's a great image to think of when you're reading that poem, because he's always scowling, and he has this austere, lean, hawk-nosed face. So.
Oh, Dante's Divine Comedy. I cut my intellectual teeth on that at Wesleyan University, spring semester of 1960. Oh, changed my mental world.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But he also wrote, a more seasonal, gentle poem. Okay, I wasn't expecting you to ask me for it, so I don't have a copy, but The End of Summer School. At dawn today, the spider's web was cold with dew, heavy as silver to the sight, where, kicked and spun with clear wings befouled, lay in the shrouds some victims of the night. This morning, too, as if they had decided, a few first leaves came loose and drifted down still slopes of air. In silence they paraded their ominous detachment to the lawn. How strange and slow the many apples ripened and suddenly were red beneath the bough. A master of our school has said this happened quiet as grass can ruminate a cow. And now the seeds go on their voyages, drifting, gliding, spinning in quiet storms, obedient to the air's lightest laws. And where they fall, a few will find their forms. And baby spiders, on the shining threads the middle air make glisten gold all day, sailing as if the sun had blessed their roads, hundreds of miles, and sometimes out to sea. This is the end of summer school, the change behind the green wall in the steady weather. Something that turns upon a hidden hinge brings down the dead leaf and live seed together. And of the strength that slowly warps the stars to strange harbors, the learned pupil knows how adamant the anvil, fierce the hearth, where imperceptible summer turns the rose.
Thank you very much for pulling that up. That's a favorite of mine. And I only realized it when I went back to Nemiroff after your reference. It is fall, but after fall and winter, even the image of the 13th century in December, come spring, eternal.
Yep.
Yeah, and our seasons of a year and seasons of a man or woman's life has a certain roundness and mythology to it. So, Easter morning. It's 10 minutes, and I'm going to stick this in before your Shakespeare recitation. By the way...
Wait, we're not going to do September 1st, 1939?
No, we're not.
It's about too grim for somebody can't take it?
Not at this point.
Okay.
We're up, buddy. We're in the second half.
Okay.
Yeah. We all must love one another or die. I mean, that's the one line, even though the poem was poo-pooed by some. It's as popular as tacos. Come on. But we must love one another or die is Gil Cass's favorite line. I mean, he repeats it, I repeat it to him.
Oh, right, yeah, I've seen that his emails, yeah.
Yeah, so we're there. We're already there. Easter morning, Jim Harrison.
Okay.
On Easter morning, all over America, the peasants are frying potatoes in bacon grease. We're not supposed to have peasants, but there are tens of millions of them frying potatoes on Easter morning. Cheap and delicious with ketchup. If Jesus were here this morning, he might be eating fried potatoes with my friend who has a 51 Dodge and a 72 Pontiac. When his kids ask why they don't have a new car, he says, quote, "These cars were once new and now they are experienced," end quote. He can fix anything, and when rich folks call to get a toilet repaired, he pauses extra hours so that they can further learn what we're made of. I told him that in Mexico, the poor say that when there's lightning, the rich think that God is taking their picture. He laughed. Like peasants everywhere in the history of the world, ours can't figure out why they're getting poorer. Their sons join the army to get work being shot at. Your ideals are invisible clouds, so try not to suffocate the poor, the peasants, with your sympathies. They know that you're staring at them. Jim Harrison.
Very good stuff.
Very good stuff.
The peasants are Americans, formerly middle class. People who join the military to make a living.
Man, that is so sad. The 20 years, we can look up from that because it's over, I hope. Afghan, Iraq. Oh, just the story of the Middle East and our involvement. And, for fathers to send their sons and to now read the lament in the poets of the Marines who feel they were bamboozled, hoodwinked, and lied to. How sad. And now, it's over and spring is coming. And what can we look forward to? That's the question for the audience. What can we look forward to in spring to come up? The only frost poem I've memorized is very short, but I return to it a lot in December, which is coming. Robert Frost. The way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. That's the extent of my memory, Victor. I'm ready for Shakespeare.
Right, that's good because I don't think I've memorized any Frost.
Okay.
He's well enough known. Well, I don't know, I've got some sonnets of his.
Oh, yeah.
So you don't want Auden's Song of the Master and the Boatswain? That may be too lighthearted. Okay.
No, that's good.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, if it's lighthearted.
W.H. Auden wrote, this is very short, some poems and short essays, little reflections, based on Shakespeare's Tempest, which involves a lot of sailors, getting Caliban drunk, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And there's one called Song of the Master and the Boatswain, which I like and my wife hates. I am not speaking for myself when I recite these lines. It's not the way I live. At Dirty Dick's and Sloppy Joe's, we drank our liquor straight. Some went upstairs with Marjorie and some, alas, with Kate. And 2 by 2, like cat and mouse, the homeless played at keeping house. There, wealthy Meg, the sailor's friend, and Mary and cow-eyed opened their arms to me. But I refused to step inside. I was not looking for a cage in which to mope in my old age. The nightingales are sobbing in the orchards of our mothers, and hearts that we broke long ago have long been breaking others. Tears around, the sea is deep. Roll them overboard and sleep.
Wow.
It's good in a dramatic sense because it's sort of outrageous macho posturing, right? It's terrible that way.
Oh, I really like that. Thank you. We have 4 minutes, and it's yours. You're on.
Well, I got some Shakespeare sonnets. I like the enjambment and I don't know the number, Let Me Not to the Marriage of True Minds.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
It really is.
I heard my son read it at a wedding. I wish he could read it now, but he's not here, so I'll do it. Hope I can remember it. Here it goes. Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love which alters when it alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. Oh no, it is an ever fixed mark that looks on tempests and is never shaken. It is the star to every wandering bark whose worth's unknown, although his height be taken. Love's not time's fool, though rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass come. Love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out even to the edge of doom. If this be error, and upon me proved, I never writ, nor no man ever loved.
Oh, what a heart note that is. Seeing the world through the eyes of the heart instead of the mind, the cerebral, busy mind. The world is so different through the eyes of the heart, isn't it? I hearken back for a minute to Victoria Safford and her rhetorical question in parentheses there. Is it love?
Right, the lighter is it love, yes.
That's so beautiful. And the end of Dante Alighieri's Paradiso, you know, the love that moves the sun and other stars. Oh, that's the chilling line, the line that gives you the chills after, 100 cantos of. Wow.
Oh, Neoplatonism in there. Yeah, they like that in the Renaissance. It shows up in Castiglione's The Courtier, too. It surprised me.
And also the great chain of being of Shakespeare. How wonderful. But here's Shakespeare's eyes of the heart.
And equating light with love sort of unites intellect and feeling, doesn't it?
Doesn't it, Victor? The most beautiful, salient point of the whole show. I have to tell you, heartfelt and viscerally, I have not enjoyed any show as much as I've enjoyed doing this, and that's 5 years.
Thank you.
I mean, you knocked it out of the park with the recitations from memory, which is just so stunning because it freed you up, as you said so well, to explore the deeper layers, the depths of feeling that come up when you're able to recite from memory. Poetry out loud. Oh my goodness. We are about to wrap, so I can't thank you enough.
Good.
And final word of what have we to look forward to this coming spring?
Well, I had some reflections. Why do so many people love poetry when it's unlikely to earn much money? It's in our famous poems that we find words and sentences that help us understand what it is to be alive, that give voice to feelings important feelings: joy, indignation, grief, jubilation. That's what's read at weddings and funerals, and occasionally, even in a political speech. It's the best use of language, and that's why people go back to it.
And that is the best summation I've ever heard. Victor, it's an honor to work with you.
Oh, likewise.
I'm so deeply
Thank you for having this show. Thanks for all the work you put into the show.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm so touched. Thank you very much. Tears at the end of joy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wrap. Till next time. Thank you. Oh.